What's up, everyone? Welcome into Fantasy Football Office Hours, brought to you by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-host, Josh. Josh, how are you doing?
Here. I'm doing well. I was super under the weather all last week, and I definitely feel like I'm on the mend. I'm on the uphill, so it's a good day, right?
Can't Glad to hear it. And we've already got some questions in here, Josh, waiting for us. Before we get into those, I want to remind everyone watching, if you're watching this and you haven't done so already, if we've been helpful at all, or you just like tuning in to make fun of us, hit a like on this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy. It is the easiest way to show your support for what we're doing. And guys, I know the fantasy season's coming to an end, but we are going to keep making content, keep going all off season. We do not stop. We did it last off season, 5 days a week, 3 p.m. We're going to be back this year. So this isn't just going away. We are nuts, but we're going to keep on doing it. Chosen Rose in here said, would you start the Green Bay defense over the Arizona defense this week? Josh, which of these defenses would you be starting?
I would absolutely start the Green Bay defense over the Arizona defense this week. Arizona's defense is one of the best in the league. In a bubble, I would be starting the Arizona defense over the Green Bay defense, but it's all about the matchups, right? The Green Bay Packers are playing the Chicago Bears this week, and the Arizona Cardinals are playing the LA Rams. And when we're comparing the two offenses that they're playing against, there's one that stands out as a little bit more scary, and that would be the Rams. The Chicago Bears, they love to turn the ball over. Not really as nervous for them. I think the Packers defense is a very good start this week.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would start the Packers this week as well. My question for you, Joshua, is going into the playoffs. So this is the thing. Arizona's been one of the best defenses all year. Would you be holding on to the Arizona defense if you were in the Chosen Roses situation for the playoffs? I can give you their playoff matchups right now, so you know. So the Packers are going to be playing the Ravens in week 15, the Browns in week 16, and the Vikings in week 17. The Cardinals are going up against the Lions in week 16, Lions in 15, Colts in 16, Cowboys in 17. So are the Cardinals worth holding on to?
No. You're gonna want to start them in that week 15. Can you hold on to them and start them that 1 week and then drop them? Absolutely. Are they worth holding on to the entire playoffs? Absolutely not. I do not want them against Indianapolis. I do not want them against Dallas. But they're a great matchup against Detroit. So if you have a roster spot that's available, go ahead. They're a great matchup week 15, but outside week 15, it's a no.
I'm with you, Josh. I am right there with you. That's exactly what I was going to say. If you can manage to hold on to them for one more week, that's a great first round of the playoffs matchup against Detroit there, but they're droppable with the other two matchups if you need that room on your roster. Chosen Rose also wants to know Freiermuth or Conklin here. Josh, are you starting Freiermuth or Conklin?
I actually have more faith in Conklin this upcoming week. I do not think Adam Thielen is going to be out there. He has a high ankle sprain. We got to keep our eye on that because if Adam Thielen plays, then I would go Freiermuth. I still like he's in the glob, the glob of tight ends we always like to talk about. Both these guys are, but Conklin really stands out without Adam Thielen. I think he's going to be a key piece of this offense. So if it was me personally, I would be starting Conklin over Freiermuth.
Yeah, I'm going Conklin as well here. It's very close, but you know what? It's also Conklin's got the better matchup. The Vikings have been better against tight ends so far this year. They're close enough. Feeling out as the tiebreaker, I would start Conklin. Anthony wants to know rest of season, Brad Menendez or Rob Sullivan.
Listen, this is not fair because both these guys are must-start options. It's like, if we're tiering both of them, they wind up in the same tier. But if I had to choose one rest of the season, it's got to be Robert Sullivan simply because, what he's produced so far, especially, coming into this week, he came on our show earlier. We're going to be on a show with both these guys later, but, we add it all together. Sully is the option I'm going with here.
2 shows with us this week give Sully the edge, but we'll see. Brad might be able to make it up in one show tonight.
Brad's got a lot of upside, but I'm a little nervous about his floor.
Carlos, he says, what's up, Front Yardigans? A little worried about Jamar with Burrow's mangled finger. And Jamar has been disappointing even without a mangled finger over the past couple of weeks. He hasn't been getting those long touchdowns. It's been the T. Higgins show. So he wants to know Jamar, Van Jefferson, or Claypool this week. Claypool practicing full today and may have Rudolph at QB. Josh, would you be willing to start either of those two guys over Jamar Chase?
I still could not do it, Carlos. I understand where you're coming from with Van Jefferson, Chase Claypool, but those guys are still in different tiers for me. Regardless of matchup, Jamar Chase's talent is absolutely a step ahead of both of them. I don't know how I could even question benching Chase for either of these two guys myself.
Yeah, I'm with you there. If you had a player a tier up, I would maybe consider making that move, but I can't do it for either of those two guys. Z2, what's up? Welcome in, Z2.
What's up,
he said, Front Yard family, what's good? He told Jay yesterday on the Tripwire pod, I want the FYF guys to pick my wallpaper Wednesday for tomorrow. So come up with a player. I have one right off the top of my head, and I might be biased by the previous. Josh, let me know what you think about this. Guy that I think has been way overperforming where people drafted him. He got outshadowed by Jamar Chase for most of the season. I think T. Higgins deserves some love. I also have my Clemson bias, but that's my initial nomination. What do you think, Josh? Who do you think deserves it this Wednesday?
T. Higgins probably deserves it over most people. I don't know if there's been one done on T. Higgins yet, but T. Higgins deserves it. I'm with you, Simon.
Is there another name that you would throw out in case he's done a T. Higgins one recently? I might have missed it.
Yeah. How about the guy we just talked about, Jack Conklin? I think he's going to be a great start the rest of the season as long as Adam Thielen's out.
You mean Tyler Conklin, not the injured offensive
Jack Conklin, not the offensive tackle for the Browns. Yes, not the offensive tackle for the Browns. That's I think out for the rest of the season. Am I right? But regardless, it would be maybe Tyler Conklin. Yeah, I like that a lot.
If you're doing a wallpaper Wednesday for a lineman, you got to do Joe Thomas. I know he's retired, but that man is a legend. I love him.
How about like Rob Gronkowski one too?
Gronk is dope. I've seen a sick Gronk edit from I believe from Z2. JL says if you could go back and change it, what would you rename FYF to? I don't know. The Front Yardigans. I think Carlos came up with a good one. Josh,
we came up with the perfect name off the bat, so there's no reason to discuss that.
Welcome in, Navin says need an RB for this week because of buys and injuries. Who's the better pickups? The Seahawks guys, the 49ers guys, or Gainwell in standard?
I've got no faith in Gainwell still. I don't know about you, Simon.
I don't have any faith in Gainwell either.
But hey, he still might be the best option out of these.
I was going to say.
I would be going with the 49ers guys, and it's actually a pretty easy situation in my mind. So it comes down to, if Elijah Mitchell's starting, you're obviously starting him. It's not even a question, right? Over all these guys, that's an easy decision. If Elijah Mitchell doesn't start and Jeff Wilson's out, then I think it really sets up a great situation for JaMychal Hasty. I actually think JaMychal Hasty would be in my top 24 running backs if he was the lone guy there. So I'm going to go with JaMychal Hasty myself.
I'm with you, Josh. It's JaMychal Hasty for me as well. I think, especially if Elijah Mitchell's out, I think that's the choice here. If he's not, then I guess I'm going Gainwell. But I expect Elijah Mitchell to miss time. He's in the concussion protocol. Navin also says, have the Saints DST roster, but tempted to grab the Chargers with Fromm starting. Who's the better play? I'm still going Saints. I understand that the temptation against the Giants with Fromm starting, but you're going up against the Jets with that Saints defense. I'll go the New Orleans Saints. Josh, are you going Saints or are you going Chargers?
The Saints are the best defense this week. I feel they're just the best defense this week. It's the Saints.
Fake Retro said, I have DJ Moore, Jamar Chase, Elijah Moore, and Hunter Renfrow with 2 slots available. Who would you go with? He wants to know. So Elijah Moore has been lighting it up recently. Josh, is there an obvious answer here to you?
Elijah Moore, Jamar Chase, DJ Moore, and Hunter Renfrow.
DJ Moore, Hunter Renfrow, Elijah Moore are all bunched together. It's Jamar Chase for me for sure, even though he's been disappointing. I'm plugging Jamar Chase in. Yeah. And then those other 3 guys are all so close for me. I probably still go DJ Moore. He's getting the targets, even if it's a horrible offense for the Panthers. I got to go DJ Moore, I think. DJ Moore, Jamar Chase for me. What about you, Josh?
It's still DJ Moore and Jamar Chase for me as well. Elijah Moore would be the next one. And we're leaving out Hunter Renfrow. I feel so bad doing that, especially if this is a PPR league. He's as safe as they come. He's probably safer than all 3 of these other guys. But if it were my fantasy lineup, I would still be putting DJ Moore and Jamar Chase out there, even though Elijah Moore is so close to DJ Moore this week for me. And that's crazy to even say.
That is crazy.
But as we talked about before, I think I am maybe the highest on Elijah Moore out of us, front yard fantasy guys.
Yeah.
I think Elijah Moore's a fantastic start going forward.
I think he's a good start going forward. I'm still not fully trusting Zach Wilson as
if DJ Moore wasn't playing the Atlanta defense, which I think he can tear apart, even with Cam Newton, then I might go Elijah Moore here. But it's
that close for you that the matchup is the deciding factor.
It's literally that close. I swear.
Man, that hurts my feelings with DJ Moore, but I don't think you're wrong. Albert said, would you start McLaurin, Hollywood Brown, or Chase at flex half PPR? This is McLaurin for me. Josh, what about for you?
I'm still going to roll Jamar Chase out there. Guys, I know he's been disappointing. I think most people saw that drop he had last week. And if he caught that pass, that's a 70-yard touchdown catch instead of a turnover going the other way. And we're probably having a different conversation about Jamar Chase right now. We're saying, look at that. Look at what he did. Look at that touchdown catch he had last week. Any week he can do that. And any week he can do that. I'm still starting Jamar Chase. Yep. And both these guys all these people were disappointing last week when it comes down.
Yeah, every single one of them. Terry McLaurin's just close enough. We talked about earlier, if you had someone in that tier, I'd be willing to start him over Jamar Chase. Terry McLaurin's that guy for me. I would start him. Eric, what's up? Welcome in. Says, how do you feel about Brady against the Bills? You downgrade him a little bit against the Bills defense, but he's still starting. He's still a top, 8 guy, top 10 guy this week. And Brady always has the upside to go off with the weapons that he has. Is this game in Tampa Bay or in Buffalo, Josh? Do you know?
I am not. They're in Tampa Bay.
Okay, then we don't even have concerns about if there's going to be crazy snow again or anything like that, winter weather. So I'm cool with starting Brady this week.
I'm more than cool with starting Brady this week. I'd still be starting him over Taysom Hill, and I know what Taysom Hill did last week. I'm concerned about Taysom Hill still with his weapons, still with his injuries he's dealing with. I'm starting Tom Brady over Dak Prescott. There's probably 5 quarterbacks I'll start start over Tom Brady. Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Naveen says, are the Eagles DST worth holding through the bye? Have the Saints rostered. So the Eagles were a very popular playoff defense pick, but then they went up against the Jets this week, and it wasn't all that great. So since they have the Saints roster, the Saints playoff schedule, just so you're aware, Josh, Buccaneers in week 15, Dolphins in week 16, Panthers in week 17. So that is 2 fairly tough offensive matchup with the way the Dolphins have been playing recently. So weeks 15 and 16, I'm not super confident about starting the Saints. Week 17, I'm super confident starting them against the Panthers, though. So I guess with that being your other option, I would try to hold the Eagles if you could with a playoff schedule of Washington, Giants, Washington. I know they were disappointing, but 100% I would try to hold the Eagles. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I'm not sure what other defenses are available. The Eagles were disappointing this past week, but they're a much better start both weeks 15 and 16 than the Saints. And this is the time of year where you can hold multiple defenses on your team. So I'm fine with it. I'm completely fine with it.
Those two together, that's a perfect I would rather start the Saints in week 16 or week 17 against the Panthers than I would the Eagles.
And the Eagles are home week 15 against Washington. They're away week 17 against Washington. So 15 is even better.
I think that combo works out really well for you, Nevin, if you can hold on to both of those guys. Anthony said Josh hates his old teammate Brad. Confirmed.
No, I love Brad. I love Brad. Hey, he said the same tier as Sully. That's high praise for both of them. They're both elite options.
Bam said, so one of my leagues trade deadline is today. Should I make a last second move and send Henderson for Javonte and Waddle? Or should I try to get Elijah Mitchell and Pittman for Henderson? Wait, something's going on here.
I know.
I think there's someone trying to hack the stream. A wrong person.
It's just me.
What's up, Jay?
What's up, Jay?
What's up? I had a chiropractor appointment. I got home early. I figured, you know what? I might as well just hop on.
Did you get a haircut or something?
A couple last week.
You look good. You look good. I don't know. You look better than normal, at least. That's for sure.
Well, I'm dressed for work, so I'm not just throwing on a t-shirt and a hat. So,
Jay, you're here just in time to answer Bam's question. He wants to know, should he make a last-second move to send Darrell Henderson for Javonte and Waddle or Elijah Mitchell and Pittman? So those are the options. Would you be making that move or either of those moves?
I think give me the Javonte and Waddle side. I mean, we don't know when Henderson's going to be back. Javonte's, even with Melvin Gordon in. He's put up numbers, and Waddle's been arguably the best wide receiver rookie on the season. So, yeah, give me Javonte and Waddle.
I'll take either of these. I'm real tempted to take the Elijah Mitchell side here because whenever he's healthy, he seems like a locked and loaded top 5 kind of guy.
Thing that scares me. Well, I guess Henderson's hurt too. So yeah. I guess
Elijah Mitchell was in concussion protocol, but again,
that's what scares me because you never know how long a concussion can linger. That's the thing.
But typically, it only lingers for a week or so, right? Yeah, and sometimes it could be less than a week. I like both these. I love both. I'm all about both these trades. I don't know which one I like more.
You know what? I think I'm flipping. I'm on the Javonte and Waddle side because both of those guys are startable pieces each. Like I'm more confident in Waddle rest of season than I am in Pittman.
Me too.
And I like both the backs, so I'm cool with it.
I'm more confident in Waddle than Pittman for sure, but I'm more confident in Mitchell than Javonte. Even after Javonte, I love Javonte Williams, but
what
I'm
if
still more confident
Gordon misses more time? If Gordon's out of the picture.
If you told me like Gordon was out for the rest of the season, this is a smash Javonte and Waddle.
Just wanted to make sure. You said more confident in Mitchell, so I just wanted
That's the only reason, because I think Melvin Gordon is still a really good running back, and he's going to eat into Javonte's carries and touches.
I'm with you.
What's up, Jorge? Welcome in. Jorge says Elijah Moore or Brandon Cooks rest of season. It's Elijah Moore for me.
Easy one
and
for
it's
me.
Not too close. Do you guys agree?
Yeah,
absolutely.
No question.
Absolutely.
Carlos says if Chase Edmonds is back, Connor or Devonta Freeman in flex. I'm definitely starting Connor if Edmonds is out. So you got that second part right for sure. Connor if Edmonds is out. And you know what? I think I'm still going Connor because I like the upside a little bit more with Connor. I think their floors are actually fairly similar. I just really like what Connor's been doing and how they're using them in the red zone. What about you guys? Would either of you start Devonta Freeman over Connor if Edmonds is back?
No, I agree with everything that you said. I think their floors are similar, and Connor has a much higher upside.
Completely agree. I wouldn't even consider benching Connor for Devonta Freeman, even though Devonta Freeman's a fine start. It could happen, but I couldn't do it.
JML Sports says Ravens and Browns score and winner prediction. The Browns will win 24-13.
Let me get you guys a nice
you know what?
FanDuel spread right here.
No. You can't. You
want me to look?
You
want me to look? You want me to look?
No, not you. I was talking to Simon about switching his answer.
I'm willing a shootout into existence, like the Browns Ravens game that we had last year, the primetime game that was just like the most fun game I watched all last season.
That was.
It was the Lamar Jackson poop his pants game. Like it had everything. Like it was so good. I'm gonna say Browns.
You associate with that so well, don't you, Simon? That's why you like the game.
I'll say Browns 45, Ravens 40.
So just to give you said 45? What?
It's not happening. I'm just trying to will a high scoring game.
Simon, under 85 points.
So the over-under on the FanDuel Sportsbook right now is at 41.5 for this game. Just so you guys know.
Yeah,
and the Browns are favored by 2.5 points at home.
That's wrong. I guess Lamar's been
struggling
struggling recently.
21-17. I think it's going to be an ugly, slow run the ball. Both teams are going to want to run the ball. Baker, even though he has a week to get healthy, he's still banged up. He's going to be banged up the rest of the year. And Lamar just hasn't looked good. So I think they're going to get back to the run game. I think it's going to be ugly. And, these divisional games outside of the Lamar Jackson poop game last year, they're usually little, they're harder fought and slower. These teams know each other pretty well. So,
which team did you take?
Ravens.
The Browns. Ravens. Oh, Ravens win. Yeah. Man, you're choosing a very close line to me. I'm going to say 24-20. So 3-point game. I'll take the Ravens.
Ravens there, but I'll take the Browns. Uneasy allies is
24-21. I'm sorry, 24-21.
I was gonna say that's a big 3 points. It's almost 4.
Yeah.
Uneasy allies says, hey guys, which would be a better start, Chuba or Hasty if Mitchell doesn't start? Jay, which of these two guys would you be starting, Chuba Hubbard or Jermichael Hasty if Mitchell is out?
So I really like the matchup with Chuba, but since Amir Abdullah is joined the team, he's really taken on that pass catcher role. So I think the upside is limited for Chuba. If you need a guaranteed, the safer play is going to be Chuba, but I think, Hasty, if Mitchell is out, which it looked like it's going to be, Debo, we still don't know. Even, if Debo does get that running back work, with the groin injury, I don't see them, giving him the 15 or so carries that, that would be
so much fun.
A fantasy football player's wet dream to
God.
have somebody in your wide receiver slot that gets 15 rushing attempts. But so I'm going to go Hasty because I just give me that upside. I don't see the upside for Chuba even against the Falcons.
I'm with you. It's Hasty for me. Josh, what about you?
I think Jay summed it up perfectly. Chuba is the safer start. He's going to get carries. He's going to get double-digit carries. I'm nervous about his receptions and what he actually ends up doing with those carries. And if Hasty's the lone back for the 49ers, we've just seen what that Kyle Shanahan system can do. He's going to be more productive than Chuba Hubbard. I'm pretty confident.
You got to worry too. The thing with Chuba is you're hoping for a touchdown, and with Cam Newton under center, he could very easily get vultured. So,
yep,
that's a great point. Great point.
JR in here. What's up, John? Welcome. And he said, sorry I'm late. Giving a big test tomorrow on parallel lines and reasoning.
Whoa.
Those kids, that's a tough one.
Scary.
They got a tough test coming up. Lots of extra help. Now I need my extra help, professors. Well, if you got questions, throw them in there. We'll be glad to answer them. What's up, Justin? Another new profile picture. This one's a basketball. Justin said, breaking news, Cook was limited at practice. Yeah. Then he's got a question for us. AJ Dillon, J-Rob, Javonte, Gallup. Start to PPR. So Javonte's locked in for me, whether or not Melvin Gordon plays. Javonte is my locked-in player here. It's that second one that I'm having trouble deciding between. The reason Javonte's locked in, whether Melvin Gordon plays or not, is because they're going up against the Lions. The running backs are going to eat. Like Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams are startable, even if they're both in here. What about you guys? Do you agree with me on Javonte?
Is Gallup the odd man out too?
I think Gallup's the odd man out, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, well, you start too, so we got to take somebody else out as well, right?
No, I know. It's just like
like Gallup's not even a consideration.
Exactly.
Cooper's going to be back. Exactly. He should be back up to speed. Gallup. I'm with you.
Yeah. So it's Javonte and J-Rob for me.
Jay, what about you? Who's the second guy?
Javonte and J-Rob. As long as Urban Meyer doesn't piss me off again and make me go on another rant, but
God, Urban Meyer.
I don't trust him.
It should be an easy.
You see what he said? He got asked about why was James Robinson in the game and hurt at the end of a game that was already in hand. He said, "Well, I don't know. That probably was a mistake."
It's such a
You're
weird
gonna make
situation.
me go on another Urban Meyer rant. We don't need
J-Rob, he got taken out of the game, and it was right after the fumble. So a lot of people were like, "Oh, he fumbled, so that's why." And then they were like, "No, he got hurt, but he played at the end of the game." So when they weren't in
played at the end of the first half. I watched almost that entire game.
What?
And on when there was 20 seconds left, they were obviously just running out the clock. Yeah. They had him in there on the last drive, threw 2 dump-off passes to him. It made 0 sense.
Urban Meyer has not earned the right to be a hard-ass coach yet with fumbles. Know what I mean? Like some coaches are hard asses with fumbles. You fumble, you're on the bench. That happens. But you know what? These coaches are generally winning coaches that are respected by their teams. Urban Meyer, your whole team would bench you every week if they could. You don't go benching someone for fumbling the ball. James Robinson would throw your ass on the bench so fast if he had another option.
They were in the game at that point. They were playing well.
God.
And you bench James Robinson.
Let's just turn this into an Urban Meyer rant.
I am all here for it. Just give me the whole screen. I could go on for days.
I'm about it.
We're gonna move on to the next question. The Justin says Packers D or Broncos D this week. Josh, which D do you want?
So the Broncos are playing the Detroit Lions. The Packers are playing the Chicago Bears. I think they're both very good defenses. For me, I'm leaning the Packers defense.
I'm leaning the Packers as well here. But these are both incredible matchups for these guys. You can't go wrong with either one. Jay, where are you going? Packers or Broncos?
Flip a coin. I lean the Broncos slightly, but honestly, you're perfectly fine with either one.
Jorge, welcome in. Salute. Glad to have you here. And Justin has another question. Who is the pickup with Mitchell possibly being out? It's JaMychal Hasty, I believe. I think that's the guy you would pick up
100%
on that. Carlos is Jay, Betty White or Mr. Rogers?
Betty White, no question. It's not even close. I gotta get.
It's Betty White.
I gotta get a picture somewhere to put Betty White in the background.
You really should. It would be a perfect picture for your background.
Yeah, absolutely.
Second take says, do you guys like Washington defense against the Eagles or Minnesota versus the Bears for week 15?
Oh, for week 15.
Week 15. He's looking ahead to the playoffs. Josh, what do you think here?
Minnesota versus the Bears for me.
Jay?
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think, well, no, you know what? Give me the Washington football team. They've been it's odd enough that it happened when Chase Young went down, but they've been playing really good lately. And it could wind up being Gardner Minshew in there. So, yeah, give me the Washington football team. I could see either one. You could see some turnovers and basically what you're looking for with those. Neither defense is that great this year. You're looking for the turnover. You're looking for the hopeful touchdown. So I lean Washington football just a little more.
I have more confidence that the Bears offense is going to look bad than the Eagles offense is going to look bad. That Eagles offense, we've seen a couple different versions of it this year. We've seen them look dominant on the ground and just run all over teams. We've also seen them have like 4 interception games. And with not knowing Gardner Minshew, Jalen Hurts, it's so variable. If I have to make the choice now, I'm going Minnesota against the Bears because the Bears.
I have a question for you though.
Okay.
Did you see what the Minnesota Vikings defense just made Jared Goff look like this past week?
Yeah.
That's my concern.
That is
if Jared Goff can do it, what is Andy Dalton slinging the ball or Justin Fields on the ground going to do?
Just don't overestimate Andy Dalton. We got to be careful. Anytime we start saying, well, if Jared Goff can do it, Andy Dalton can. I'm not so sure we can.
And I will say, even against the Detroit Lions, the Vikings had a good defensive game from a fantasy perspective. They did allow 29 points, but they got 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 interception. Yeah. So they were still a fine fantasy defense. They weren't like, maybe not what you expected necessarily. 8 fantasy points.
But you'll take those points all day.
Exactly. So when it comes down to on what side I trust the Bears offense less than the Eagles offense.
I think the way I said it was that I trust them to be bad more, which is like a really weird way of putting it.
Yeah, it works.
I trust,
but I do trust them.
I think it's because they're the ones that are consistent. So I'm saying trust that they're going to stay that way. Bam says flex Knox, Mooney, or Sony. Jay, which of those 3 players would you be flexing? Knox, Mooney, or Sony?
Give me Sony. I lean running back, and he looked good. And if Henderson is out, which even though he was active, he didn't play. So Sony looked good. If you're getting that many touches in this offense, he's gonna. He got the goal line work. He got the touchdown. If Henderson is expected to not really play, give me Sony. If not, if Henderson is back, expected to get some carries, then I would lean Mooney.
I'm going Mooney. If I expect Henderson to play, I don't think Sony gets that much work. I'll go Mooney. He's getting the targets. Josh, what about you?
Moody is the right decision. I am going with Sony. I think Sony's going to be actually really good, even with Darrell Henderson in there.
Yeah, I think I'm on an island. I think he earned those extra carries. I'm on the island with you.
Let's go. Let's go, Jay. I'm about it. I put Sony Michel even with Darrell Henderson playing in a solid start on our last show.
I did not get to watch. I was at the chiropractor, but I'm with you.
Bam wants to know flex Marvin Jones, Tyler Boyd, Amir Abdullah, Sony, or Latavius. So Latavius Murray, Sony Michel, Amir Abdullah, Tyler Boyd, Marvin Jones. Josh, are you going to say Sony?
Where I'm going to go with this. It's Sony.
Man, given these options, I think it is Sony for me as well. Yeah. I think it's got to be Sony here.
And after that, I'd go Amir Abdullah for the PPR upside.
Yeah, I was going to say Amir Abdullah is the other name I'm looking at. Carlos says, if Cook is back, Mattison or A.J. Dillon. If Cook's back, it's A.J. Dillon for me. He's got a more clearly defined role in this offense when the starter is there. Mattison could immediately be nothing if Cook is healthy and playing.
Yep.
That being said, I don't think we expect Cook to play, right? He was limited in practice, but
yeah. He did get a limited practice in, like you just said. I don't see how he does it though. It seems dumb.
So JR has a question for us. Says, still alive in my last 2 guillotine leagues, but one team got hit with buys and Keenan Allen this week. I need 2 flex from the waiver wire. Can you rank these guys? So we need to pick 2 of these guys that are on the waiver wire. Saquon Barkley, Jamal Williams, Saquon Barkley, Jamal Williams, James Conner, Chuba Hubbard, Tony Pollard, Mark Ingram, Jerry Jeudy, Brandon Ayuk, Michael Gallup, KJ Osborne, Russell Gage, Van Jefferson. There's a couple names that stand out to me here, and that's Saquon Barkley and James Conner as the ones that I want most out of all of these. Are there other names that stand out to you guys, or do you disagree on the top 2, Jay?
No, I agree with you. Russell Gage sticks out to me. We talked about him on Sunday, averaging 9 targets over the past 3 games. Everybody thought that with Calvin Ridley out, that Pitts would be the guy to prosper, but it's really been Gage. Pitts is getting that extra defensive attention, and Gage has been able to run free. So I like Gage as well.
Josh, what about you?
Oh, yeah. Saquon Barkley and James Conner are absolutely the two that stand out the most to me. After that, if DeAndre Swift isn't playing, I'll still rank Jamal Williams right there. And then that's where we get into Gage, Brandon Ayuk, Jerry Jeudy, Tony Pollard.
I was going to say
right there with those guys as well.
My number 3 is Tony Pollard. Because you can start him each and every week, regardless of whether Zeke is playing. Zeke's playing a little bit banged up right now. I think there's a world where Zeke misses time down the stretch of this season. Tony Pollard is startable anyways, and he's a guy that if Zeke does miss time, could be a league winner. So my order goes Saquon Barkley, James Conner, and then it's Tony Pollard third for me, just because of that league-winning upside that he has while still being startable. But this is a good list of names to be picking from, JR, as far as bye week fill-ins go.
Absolutely.
I know it's a guillotine league, so a bunch of those teams getting chopped now are full.
And Osborne's up
players.
there too, especially if Thielen misses time.
That's true. Yeah. You got a bunch of good options over there. Navin wants to know, how much fab would you spend on Hasty this week? So it depends on how much you have left. If you need a win this week to get into the playoffs. Josh, what do you think here? What's a reasonable amount given? You could give a scenario, give a range based on
Yeah. So, I mean, you summed it up. It absolutely depends on if you need a running back this week. I'm not spending much at all, to be completely honest with you, because we don't even know if he's going to be the starter. Elijah Mitchell could still play. So when it comes down to it, I'll spend a little bit on him. I would be trying to keep a little bit for the playoffs. If you're already a lock for the playoffs, I absolutely want to do that. So it'd be a couple bucks.
If you need a win to get into the playoffs and you need a running back, spend whatever it takes. Know what I mean? Because you don't make the playoffs, it doesn't matter. So if that's the scenario, spend whatever it takes to get them. Spend everything except for $1. Do what it takes. Or look at the other people who need a running back. Look at how much fab they have left. Maybe you have more. You can bid $1 more than the amount of fab they have left. But I'm with Josh otherwise. If you don't need a win this week, throw a couple bucks or just a free waiver bid out there and see if you get them. But otherwise, spend up if you need it, though. Unruly Drip has a question for us, guys. Would you drop Kyle Pitts in redraft for Dallas Goddard? None of us want to answer, Drip. None of us.
Because we know what the right answer is.
Jay's actually right. We all know what the right answer is. I going forward, I feel more comfortable starting Dallas Goddard right now than I do Kyle Pitts. I would try
my damnedest to not. I don't necessarily normally condone carrying 2 tight ends, but this would be a scenario where it's smart. So if you have no other options, well, the only thing is too, they're on bye this week, so that plays us into it as well. So you're getting an extra
Goddard's
game out
on
of
bye
Pitts.
for everyone.
Yeah, so you need to hang on to Pitts, right? Yeah, then you need to hang on to Pitts.
Yeah, you got to hang on to Pitts at least for this week.
So there has to be somebody else. I would not be actively looking to drop Kyle Pitts because he's been solid. He hasn't been, it's resetting expectations. He's been good, but he just hasn't been that, that cheat code that everybody wanted him to be this year.
Josh is frozen or not blinking, and there we go.
I don't blink very much.
God. Also, Navin said, "Thanks, dudes. No problem. Always glad to answer questions. It's fun answering your fantasy questions." But yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm trying to hold Kyle Pitts, but who would you rather start rest of season? It's Goddard. Oh, yeah. Hurts my feelings. Lucas says start 2 standard PPR. So I'm guessing PPR. This is PPR. Just normal PPR, 1 full point PPR is I think what he meant there. Elijah Moore, Renfro, Aaron Jones, Javonte Williams. It's the 2 running backs for me. Even with the worries about Aaron Jones' injury, I'm going Aaron Jones, Javonte Williams. But those are great wide receiver options over there. Josh, what do you think?
Javonte Williams and Elijah Moore.
And Elijah Moore. Jay, are you in line with Josh, in line with me, or a different answer entirely?
Different answer entirely. I would go Aaron Jones and Hunter Renfrow.
What? Let's go. I love it.
3 different answers for you there, Lucas.
If Melvin Gordon is back. If Melvin Gordon is not back, Javonte's automatic. So I would switch to Jones and Javonte. But if Melvin Gordon does play, give me the safety of Renfrow, and he's got some solid upside. He's the top option in Vegas.
That's wild. That is what a wild world we live in.
We tried to tell JL that
I know
Renfrow was going to be something, and he just would not.
He doesn't listen to us. He just doesn't listen.
Drip said, I have a spot. I could drop Jamal Williams instead. I'm 7-6, and Kyle Pitts could hold me back in the playoffs. Well, you'll need a tight end for this week if you're picking up Goddard is the problem here. Right. You need someone you can start. But would you guys drop Jamal Williams for Dallas Goddard instead?
No, not with Swift with being banged up, and he's still got value.
He needs a spot, though. Is like we can't tell him to drop Kyle Pitts at this point
because he needs a tight end. He has to play a tight end this week, and he's 7-6, so probably on the fringe of the playoffs.
Right. I mean, and we all hesitated. So the value for Kyle Pitts and Goddard is close. It's not like Goddard is that, because they're still in the same tier for me. Right. He hasn't been, that was with Gardner Minshew. Who knows what it's going to look like when Jalen Hurts comes back. So, I think you have to keep Kyle Pitts. You can't take a loss in that, take a 0 and if George Kittle is out there, that's a different story. Then you take the 0.
Jay,
but
I will say, John, Finn, if you're still watching, JR, if you're still in here, JR had probably the worst bad beat I've seen in a long time against Jay and I in the listener league. John, I saw that and I was just like, oh my God.
It was not intentional.
It was not intentional. Jay and I picked up a tight end from the 3 p.m. slate to start so that we could have that spot filled. We just needed somebody, a body. So we picked up Gerald Everett to plug in. We forgot to put Gerald Everett in the lineup in time for kickoff. We won by less than a point. Gerald Everett scored negative 1.2 points in that game. Had we remembered and plugged Gerald Everett in, we would have lost that matchup. The difference was us not remembering to put Gerald Everett in. And that was what won us the week. It was one of the worst beats I've ever seen. I'm so sorry, John. We deserved to lose that week, John. That was brutal. You believe that, Josh?
I can only imagine if you guys did put him in, like what we'd be
talking
about.
I'd be so mad.
It's like whoever actually did it,
Yeah. Carlos in here says Dak against Washington or Cam against the Falcons. It's got to be Dak, right? With what we saw from Cam last time he was out there. Does Cam have upside? Yeah, Cam could get 80 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, but I don't.
He has the most downside out of any quarterback.
God. He could get benched in the second quarter.
Superflex is an automatic start no matter the matchup.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Also, Lucas saying we can all agree I have a tough decision. Yes, you do have a very tough decision, Lucas. That one is tough.
A good tough decision to have.
Yeah.
Lamb Cup says, I'm 1 game out of playoffs and my tight end is on bye. Who's the best waiver wire tight end that you guys would recommend? We need to see some names that are out there. But Conklin 100% is the name I was going to bring up. Conklin is startable. The first one
popped in my head too.
If it's a deeper league, I think you could start Ricky Seals-Jones. You could pick
stole
him
it from me, SOB. That's exactly who I was going to say.
Because they've got the Washington football team has great tight end matchups throughout the playoffs and this week included. You could pick up Ricky Seals-Jones and start him the rest of the way, I think.
But he played well with Logan Thomas out this year. You and I recommended him a few times in some videos that we've done. Ricky Seals-Jones has done well.
I'll throw out Cole Kmet. I like Cole Kmet this week a lot. I'd still go with
Jimmy Graham still keeps stealing the touchdowns. It's so aggravating.
Yeah, Cole Kmet's just super involved. He's getting a lot of targets. I feel comfortable with him.
Yeah.
Yep. W says Kirk Cousins or Joe Burrow. I tend to always pick the wrong one. Well, with Joe Burrow's finger injury, I'm going Kirk Cousins this week. I'm really nervous about how that finger is going to affect him. So I'll go Cousins.
And Burrow hasn't looked that good the past couple of weeks either. So it's Kirk Cousins.
It's an easy Kirk Cousins for me as well.
Unruly Drip says I have an extra spot, which is taken by Burrow. Hurts is on a bye. Hopefully Goddard is still there next week. If not, oh well, Pitts to the moon. So he's having to hold. That's tough.
I got you.
Because he's got to hold Hurts as well for the playoffs.
Yeah, you can't.
It's fine. Let's get Pitts in the end zone. Let's get Pitts in the end zone.
Like they're like we said, Josh. They're in the same tier, so it's not a big enough difference to take that 0.
Would definitely rather have Goddard. They're in the same tier, so you're not losing that much. You're good. You're good.
Guys, JR with another question for us. Can you guys take this one? I'll be right back. Says he needs to cut 2 of these 3 in his guillotine.
In his guillotine. So it's Darren Waller, Kyle Pitts, Hawkinson. I need to play one of these tight ends. Miles Sanders, Devonta Smith. I need to cut 2 or 3 of these guys in my guillotine league.
Devonta Smith, easy for me. He's been maddenly inconsistent. He's got some upside, but he's the first one easy for me. You can't drop Waller, even though he's been disappointing. For me, it's between Kyle Pitts and Hawk.
Yeah.
And I would drop Hawk. I just both offenses are abysmal, but I like Pitts' upside just a smidge more.
I think again, Hawk and Pitts, they're kind of in that same tier, like we just talked about. I would rather cut Pitts than Hawk.
Yeah,
myself.
and I can completely see the argument. You're gonna hear it. I'm not gonna argue with you on that one. So it's basically Smith, flip a coin for Pitts or Hawk.
And he's saying he might have to cut 3 of them. So are we just cutting both Pitts and Hawk? Well, we got to make sure that Darren Waller's playing first, right? So when it comes down to it, you can't cut both if you have to make the decision tonight.
He's cutting these guys to pick up Saquon Barkley and James Conner if it's in the league, if it's in the same league. If it's in the same league. He is in 2 guillotine leagues.
Then
I still wouldn't drop Miles Sanders, even banged up, even on the bye. I know it's guillotine. Well, I would like the running back. I'm a running back heavy guy.
I think that Saquon Barkley and James Conner are on the waiver wire right now.
Probably from a team that just got cut. Same league.
I know.
So Miles Sanders, it's Miles Sanders, Devonta Smith, and then
there's
one
not
of those
many
tight
teams
ends
left at this point in a guillotine league. It's like
I'll cut Miles Sanders, Devonta Smith, and then one of those tight ends. Either Pitts or Hawk, whichever one you like less. I'd cut that guy. Hold on to Waller for the playoffs. Start the other one this week. Good to go. That's where I'm going on this one. But Jay, you're holding on to Miles Sanders. You're cutting 2 tight ends and Devonta Smith.
I'm gonna go down with that ship. I still believe in Miles Sanders.
He's taking the gamble on Darren Waller playing this week, and if that's the case, then I think he made the right decision.
Guys, we are going to run through these. We're running out of time, but we're going to hit these rapid fire. Rank these 4 QBs this week: Russell Wilson, Taysom Hill, Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford. Josh, you want to take a shot at this first, or do you want Jay to do it? Or me?
I've got this. Hold on. I want to look up. So Taysom Hill is playing the New York Jets. Russell Wilson is playing the Houston Texans. Kirk Cousins is playing Pittsburgh, and Matthew Stafford is playing Arizona. Oh, this is a good one. So Matthew Stafford, Kirk Cousins, Taysom Hill, Russell Wilson.
Josh, you said exactly what I was going to say. I was going back and forth between Stafford and Kirk, but I'll put Stafford first, then Kirk, then Taysom, and then Russ last based on what we've seen recently. Jay, what about you? Do you differ from that?
I do. Matthew Stafford, Taysom Hill. I love the upside. He doesn't have the passing upside, but the Jets are the worst against the running backs, and Taysom Hill is a glorified running back. They're going to be running the ball, especially if Kamara's back. They could very easily go with a run-heavy game script. All 4 options are good, but yes, Stafford, Hill, Cousins, and Wilson for me.
There you go. So flip
it's just
Hill
all we
and
did
Cousins
was,
for Jay.
Exactly. Not too bad.
Kev says bird up. What's up, Kev? Also, Justin said the 49ers worked out 3 backs today: Jeremy Cox, Brian Hill, and Dexter Williams.
Don't worry about them.
I was going to say, you're good. So Justin wants to know, do I pick up Hasty and drop Matt B? So drop Matt Breida for JaMychal Hasty. I'd do it. Jay, what about you?
Yeah, I'm completely fine with that.
Easily.
Also, JR confirming it's the same league and said I can probably pick up Sanders next week if I survive. So, you know what?
Being guillotine, being on bye. Yeah, Sanders.
Yeah.
Guys, that is going to be it for office hours today. Jay, thank you for jumping in. That was a fun surprise having you join halfway through.
You guys.
An extra professor in the room. Everyone, good luck in your matchups this week. JR making it down to the last week before 4 teams left in a guillotine league. That is so much fun.
Luck.
I got to join some guillotine leagues next year because I get excited with your guillotine.
I was in one this year and I got eliminated last week, unfortunately.
Guys, that'll be it. Make sure to tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time for the Fantasy Football Game Show, and we'll be back live. Until then, we are out of here. Have a good rest of your
Trading
Tuesday,
makes fantasy
everyone.
fun. Yeah.
Adios.